Right, brilliant. Hi, Ed. So this will be the first time some of our owners have, well, I imagine they've seen some of your videos on YouTube, but I really appreciate you taking the time out to have a conversation with me this afternoon. So the great news is Born and Finish is coming to join your team, and you're picking him up at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Yeah, great. And great to talk to you, Craig, and welcome to everybody. And hope you're going to have a lot of fun with us here at Lily Hall Farm in Ledbury. Yeah, the horse will be picked up at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, and I should imagine he'll probably arrive before midday. And obviously we've got the weekend, so we'll let him settle in and make an assessment slowly into next week. We'll, after a few days, we'll probably introduce him to the swimming pool just so that he's there to be able to do it. I don't envisage that being a problem. I doubt well, he may well have swum before, but most of the horses love it. And it's prevention and cure. Obviously, you know the issues that the horse has had, and one has to be mindful of that. And I think, you know, he'll probably be swimming certainly once a week and maybe twice a week. It just sort of alleviates any stress on the bone whilst he's doing a bit of cantering. He can then have a swim the next day. And so I think that the sort of mix and match of it is perfect for a horse like this. You know, we'll take a week or two just to see where we are with him with fitness and let him settle down before even thinking about where we're going to go with him. But once we've made that assessment, we'll be able to sort of put a plan in place and come up with one for the group.
So typically, when a horse goes swimming, and I imagine it's different for all horses, or maybe it isn't, but how long would they spend in a pool? I mean, I go in there and I try and do 20 lengths, and I get out after 12, and I struggle. But you know, how long does a horse spend in the pool?
So typically he will, depending on what. I mean, he's obviously at a level of fitness, so he probably would cope with the maximum. We do a maximum of 6 lengths. It's a 50-meter pool. That takes between 30 and 40 seconds to swim a length. They come out, turn around, go straight back in again. So they're not really getting a chance. It's almost interval training, if you like, in a pool. He will, depending what he's like, he'll certainly do 3 lengths minimum. And I say 3 because he'll walk in 1. If he finds it all a bit strange and a bit odd, we bring them out and we walk them down the rubbered side so that, you know, they can just sort of find their feet again and sort of, you know, collect themselves, as it were. Then he'll go in again, we'll turn him around and bring it back out again, back down the other end. So he'll have done a total of 3 lengths, and that will do him. Now, if he just takes to it like a duck to water, he'll certainly do 4 lengths. He'll just go in, out the other end, turn around, straight back in, and do that twice. The level of fitness that I'm led to believe he's at, his next session, he'll do 6 lengths. We don't like to do, depends. I mean, every horse is different. When you guys come down, we'll show you horses swimming, and you get some horses that you literally have to chase them along with a stick, or even the net, just to sort of jiggle them along a little bit because they're very lazy. You get some horses that you've got to stand back because they will fly. And I don't think it's a fear thing. I just think they enjoy it, and it's just the type of horse they are. We've got one horse, the Treacherous, that won the other day. I mean, you've got to be a little bit careful, but he just spends his life in the pool. He swam every single day between his 2 wins for the 23 days. He didn't see the gallops once because he's got his various issues. But he will, if you're standing in the wrong place, you'll have a shower.
Okay. But it's no. I'm not aware. I mean, Jamie occasionally takes horses along. There is a pool facility in Lambourne.
Yeah, I think Oliver Sherwood, I think allows people to use his. I think
he was when in the early conversations I had with him, he wasn't a fan of swimming horses. Just the background and the way that he trained, the success he'd had. So I think but what I do know that and what Born and Finish has thrived on in the past is a little bit of a change of scenery, a little bit of a change in routine. He is a horse that when he does get switched on, he really engages and he really goes. And his work, from what I understand, and again, obviously, I don't want to labour the point too much about how, you know, we're using phrases like what we believe his fitness is and what have you. I mean, that is because, you know, you take things at face value to what you're told. But, you know, Dougie Costello and Jimmy McCarthy both think Bonifacius is in as good a condition as he's been in since he's been with them. And that is the break, whether it was enforced or not, but the break has actually really helped him because it's just been how it's happened to work out for him. And now he has had a little bit of quiet few days, and you know, which is why it's great we're getting a move tomorrow, because if that had been prolonged another week, it's just time that he's going to be losing little bits of fitness all the way along the line. But I think swimming could be a good thing for him, and I think he is a smart horse. You know, we've had a couple of horses in the past which have not been the brightest, and they haven't quite grasped what's going on around them at times, and they haven't quite, you know, one of them didn't even understand, you know, just to get very feared about other horses being around him. He really didn't like it. So it was hard to work with other horses because he shied away. And then when you put him in a scenario, the minute a horse came up beside him, he duck away or whatever. He just didn't like it. Whereas for the finish, he's got a proper good heart and he's got real guts. Hugely popular horse with our owners, you know, and you know, an overwhelming amount of support for him to come to you. So I think the sooner we get him there, get him properly assessed, and then formulate some kind of a plan, absolutely the better. And I think one thing where I feel you'll have an advantage with it being the horse it is, and with it being the owners that they are, they all have the opinion of what's best for the horse is absolutely what comes first. This isn't a case of a horse arriving with you that's been underperforming, and there's immediate pressure coming from the owners to say, we need to find him a race quickly, we need to get him winning quickly, because this horse doesn't owe us anything. You know, we owe him the right care and the right attention and the opportunity for him to race and enjoy himself. But it has to be when it's right for him, not when it's right for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, that is the case with all the horses, and I've never had a problem, and I'm sure I won't be having a problem with you guys. Look, just touching on what your first point of that part of the conversation, you know, with the pool, I love it because I think it's something that we would have struggled to do the job here with these flat horses without the pool. Sir Mark Prescott said to me, it gives him 15 to 20% of his winners, and he is a lover of his pool. So I think it is a great thing. Mentally for the horses, we do different things with them. They do a bit on the treadmill, not so much once they're fit. But you do a bit of swimming and you're doing different things on the gallops. They get turned out in the spring. They're getting turned out every day. They go in individual paddocks. We got very small paddocks, probably the size of a third of a tennis court. Individual paddocks, post and rail. They can go out, they can have a buck and a kick. If they're happy out, they stay out for 3 or 4 hours. If they're very sensible, they go in a slightly bigger paddock. We keep them separate. I don't like horses with shoes on going with other horses with shoes on, one kick and you've got a problem. But I just think mentally, it just keeps the horses in a great place. And if your horse is happy and he's fit, he's going to run for you and he's going to perform for you. Yes, going on. He's a fantastic horse. He's got split mark, which is something that has to be. You know, obviously the all-weather is probably where his strength is, but you know, there's opportunities there on the grass. I think there's going to be lots of opportunities for him. But as I say, let's get him here. Let's assess him. Let's not rush him, but also be mindful that we all want to get out and go racing. The horse will come first. I won't let him run until I'm happy with him, but I'm sure you'll be happy with that thought process.
No, of course, and I think it's, you know, the split marks are an interesting one, and I think, you know, we've actually got 2 horses with split marks, which is, you know, considering the number of horses that we currently have, he's got a split mark as well, turf versus all weather, and he's the other way around. His all weather mark is lower, but he's right. Big horse, he's a big striding horse, and the all-weather tracks don't necessarily suit him. Ran a great race at Kempton last week, week before, He's actually going back to Kempton for his next run because that's the best opportunity for him. But the straight at Kempton's probably a furlong and a half to 2 furlongs too short for him. And by the time he gets into his stride, if it's a technical race, they're gone. You know, and it's stepping them up to 2 miles, whether it's 1 mile 4, 1 mile 6, 2 miles, or even 2 mile 4, the straight is still the same distance. You know, so it's not really going to make a huge difference to him. But with Born to Finish, I am convinced, and, you know, the one thing we have with Born to Finish is a lot of the owners have been with him for a long time now, and they've followed all his runs. So they do know the horse very well. They're very good with their opinions. They don't tend to preach them. They tend to share them. And you know, it's something that I take on board. My personal opinion with Born to Finish is that the all-weather split compared to turf is not necessarily down to the surface. It's down to how the races are run.
Yeah.
And I think that is the bit where if he gets a fast run 6 furlongs on a reasonable surface, I mean, soft ground's no good. But if as long as you've got somewhere where he can get a surface where he can push himself off, Jamie like running him on firm, not because he felt that he needed firm, but because they go quicker. And it was all about them going quicker. So I think that there is an opportunity there to exploit the turf mark, but we're going to need a degree of luck on the conditions of the race and who else has entered. Whereas if he was a front runner, he'd be away from the front and he'd be exploiting his turf mark in no question whatsoever. Because I am absolutely, even looking at some of his split times and looking at some of the positioning, the number of times he's had bad luck on the turf. Bad luck, exaggeration. When things haven't quite gone right on the turf, because they've either gone too slow, they've quickened away from him, and he just hasn't been able to go, or he's been trapped wide or on a wrong draw, and then they kick away on the front, and he's just not in a position to try and challenge. You know, they are difficult, but his run at Haydock was very good. You know, the race he won at Bath, although it wasn't a great race, his performance was very good, and he's recorded good RPRs on the turf. Even before he went to Jamie, he ran a very good race at Ascot under Martin Harley back as a 3-year-old. I think I probably should have the form in front of me, make myself look a little bit exposed. But it was a good Saturday Ascot handicap, and he didn't trouble the winner by any stretch, but he ran a good race. His RPR was very good. So there is a decent turf race to be won, or a couple of relatively lowly turf races to be run, when we catch the right race and the right, and you get a little bit of luck with a draw. But that said, we know where we are with them on the all-weather.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely hit the nail on the head. It's the run of the race. He needs a nice fast pace to aim at, which is, that's pretty clear to see. I normally keep my horses in the worst company and try to keep myself in the best company, but I suppose there is always an argument. I mean, you run him in a slightly higher grade. Sorry, we cut out there. You there?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, sorry, I lost you. Someone was trying to call in. You run him in a higher grade, it might, slightly better caliber of horse. You might get a slightly faster run pace. You might do, not necessarily. That is something to bear in mind. There's lots of things that that we should factor in when we're looking for these races. But I mean, you make your entries, and it's very difficult at entry stage. But once your declarations, and if you've got loads of pace, you're going to go there with full of confidence. Hopefully, if there's no pace in the race, then I think one has to be realistic, and it's not going to be set up for him. And I think what I've looked at, looking back at his form, that's exactly how he's got to be ridden. Yeah,
I think it is it's one of these topics you could go round and round and talk about for hours. And I think looking back at the first race he ran, the first race he won, Hogmanay a couple of years ago, New Year's Eve for you non-Scottish folk. And he won a race at Lingfield, and he came late and he got up. I think somebody's still trying to get hold of you. Somebody came late and he got up on the line, comfortably, really. I mean, he was running off a ridiculously low rating compared to where he is now. But in relative terms, that race wasn't ran very quickly because they were very low-grade horses. And he just cantered all over them. I think it is a case of, there is the argument of we could put him up in grade, but there's also the thing of running him in the lowest grade we can now, initially on turf, and exploiting that mark. If he is ridden with that confidence and just push that a little bit closer, so that even if they do try to quicken off the front, they're not quicken as good as he is, because he's got weight in hand. You know, and it's I think there is this degree where I understand that there are reasons and there are a number of different factors that come into turf racing. But when he has weight in hand, which we know he has in hand because it's the same horse with a split mark, I'd like to think we're going to be able to exploit that.
That was my first reaction when we first had the conversation. I got off the phone to you and had a look at him, and I thought, well, okay, that's exciting, because there's something there that we can work on, you know, or is he really much better on the all-weather? But I just think, he's clearly a good horse on the grass, and I think that is something that I would look to exploit at some point. Now, whether we do that straight away, let's just see. I mean, let's not.
I think the first priority's got to be just getting him back racing in conditions we know he likes.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think so. The first run, when we do come to it, ideally we need to be looking for something at Kempton or Lingfield, where we know he likes it, so that if he doesn't deliver, we're not asking questions of, is that something to do with the course, or was it the race, or has he just not come back as well as we thought he had from the injury? Whereas if we put him in his right grade at Kempton or Lingfield, we know the course is not an issue. We know the track, we know that the conditions aren't an issue. And if he underruns, then we know we need to be exploring a little bit deeper. But where we go from there, it's exciting. It's all opportunity. It's all potential. There's no real restriction on what we can do with him. He's actually bred to be better over a mile. So it's, there is all sorts of opportunity we can try and explore if the time comes and if we need to.
The other thing, again, having another look at the other, do we edge up? Do we edge up in trip? You know, if he can sit in, as long as the pace is there and the race is run right. You know, do we go to 7? Do we go? Saying go to a mile necessarily, but I think there's lots of things that we can tweak and have a look at if we want to try and eke a little bit more improvement out of him.
Yeah, but I think the starting place, let's not reinvent it. We get him where we know. He's happy. Look to try and utilise a jockey who knows him, and just try to say, right, let's get everything in as much as we possibly can in the horse's favour, and go from there. And then we can see what the next steps are.
Then we can start changing things. Absolutely. At the moment, let's get him ready, and then get him out on conditions that suit him, as you say. And then we can look forward to sort of finding different things that we think we might get even more improvement out of him.
I had a very brief conversation with another trainer. We were talking about the horse. Obviously, you're talking to other trainers before, yourself included. So, but obvious reasons I won't name the guy, but he said something that really, really appealed to me. And again, not for the first or second race. But he was saying the beauty of a split mark is that you should be able to enter the horse in a turf race on as if he was carrying his all-weather mark, but with all that weight as an advantage. See, so if he's rated 81 on the all-weather, get him in a 0 to 80 or get him in a 0 to 85 on the turf. But he's not running off that mark. He's got this huge amount of weight allowance, which he just shouldn't have. Just ignore the fact that, he says, because so many people get bought into the idea because the handicapper splits the mark that the horse is not as good on turf as he is on the all-weather.
Yeah, so you could be running him, but treat it as an allowance.
Yeah, that's the phrase. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's the phrase. and then put an apprentice on, take another 7 off, and he's running.
Yes, well, you can always do that. Yeah.
He's going to be, he's going to think that he's running around.
He's running free.
Yeah, so it's no, but listen, I don't want to take up too much of time, and also mindful that we're going to expect people to watch this, and don't want them to be, getting falling asleep by the end of it. But
yes, there is that.
So next stage is
stop there, then, hadn't we?
Absolutely. No, the next stage, horse is collected tomorrow. If you let me just confirm with me tomorrow once the horse is with you, that would be great.
I will give you a call tomorrow afternoon. Tell you, I'll trot him up. I mean, to be honest, if you want to get the girls at Osborne, I don't know if you're going to talk to them again. If they want to trot up and take a video, that's fine. Every time I get a horse here, I trot it up straight away. If I'm suspect, Jamie, I'm sure is going to be absolutely fine. But we'll have a proper look at the horse the minute he gets off the box. And if I've got any sort of issues that I would be concerned about, I'll flag them straight away. Perfect. I don't think there will be, but
no, and they're not expected to be anyway, and there is a huge amount of affection for the horse in the yard. Had the same guy. Well, there's 2 of them share the duties in various things, but he's had the same stable staff with him from day 1 in Jamie's yard. The same guy, he's up in the top barn. It's been the same guy who's been in charge of that barn since he arrived. So there's been long continuity. So, they, as I said, they sent a really nice, heartfelt video of, just the saying goodbye to the horse type thing. And I think there's a lot of genuine feeling in that, and I do think that, I think, the horse will be gone a week like any racing scenario, and the horse will be gone a week, it'll be like Bourne-to-Who. But, I think that there is genuine affection for the horse. He is an exceptionally easy horse to have affection for. So I've no concern that the horse is going to be perfectly fine when he leaves the yard. I've got no
he will enjoy this hotel, I can assure you. He'll be very well looked after. So the girls and lads who looked after him in the yard don't need to worry about anything.
No, it's when he first went to Jamie's. I think it was 4 boxes down from Toaster New York when nobody knew Toaster New York was there. So Toaster New York was up in a corner. Yeah. And nobody's supposed to know he was there, but when you're doing walks in the stables and you're trying to look at Born to Finish, and there's this horse up at the top kicking and bucking against his box as if to say, "Oi, do you know who I am? Can you just come and have a look at me? That horse is a handicapper. Listen to me. Come and have a see this one." And Jamie was just going, "You just need to ignore him. That's really not Toast New York. He may look like him, and he's definitely behaving like him, but believe me, it's not." So it is a little bit sad that this episode's closing. I'm very, very excited about the next, and I think that we know what we're doing, and I don't think he can be in better hands. So it's appreciate you taking the chance with him and with us.
I appreciate you coming to us. That's great.
And I'll get this video shared with all the owners, and just women just let them know he's safe and sound on Saturday night. I'm sure there's going to be a few people feel very, very pleased about that.
Brilliant. Well, I will, as I say, I'll give you a call when he arrives and let you know how he is.
Brilliant. Thanks for your time, Ed.
Jolly good.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.